If you know King Arthur's story, you probably know Sir Kay. He is almost always depicted as the petulant foster brother, the bumbling and often obnoxious steward of Camelot. In 12th century French romances, Kay existed to serve a very specific function: failure. Making him an incompetent buffoon was a highly efficient way to make newer, heavily romanticized knights, like Lancelot, look heroic by comparison. Curious, shifting tone. But the earliest Arthurian literature, an archaic Welsh poem called Pa Gŵr, reveals a character named Kai, and he bears absolutely no resemblance to the Kay of Camelot. This early Kai is a titan. The poem describes a giant of a man who slaughters enemies by the hundreds. He is a supernatural force who hunts down a band of 9 witches and battles dog-headed monsters on the borders of the kingdom. How a terrifying monster-slaying warlord devolves into a punchline is a historical mystery. To find the real Sir Kay, we have to ignore the French castles and travel back to the lost geography of a region known as the Old North. Look at this dramatic, volcanic landscape of modern Edinburgh. In the 5th century, this was Din Eden, the capital of a Brittonic kingdom called the Votadini, situated in the heart of the Hen Ogledd, or the Old North. The Votadini lived a harsh geopolitical reality. They operated as a highly specialized, Romanized buffer state, and their primary mandate was holding the line against invading Picts and Scots from the northern Highlands. Linguistically, the name Kay is a Brittonic adaptation of the Latin Gaius. Historical records point to the original Gaius being a Romanized aristocrat or a high-ranking military commander stationed within this frontier force. Kai's literary title as porter refers to a specific military designation, the commander of defensive infrastructure like this, responsible for the security of the northern frontier. In early Brittonic verse, the extreme physical dominance and professional rigor of a Roman-trained officer were translated into the language of legend. Tactical superiority became giant stature, and the proficiency of a frontier commander became the ability to slaughter hundreds. This map highlights a geographical choke point at the River Forth. Poetry places Kai at the Battle of Tribruit here, defending the gateway to the Highlands. He also left a footprint in the Lothian territory, the Kai Stone, standing near Arthur's seat. But the Votadini could not hold the line forever. Waves of Anglo-Saxon expansion pushed aggressively from the east, forcing the surviving Brittonic tribes to abandon their northern homeland and flee south. As they retreated into Wales, the exiles brought their cultural heroes with them. Looking at these excavated stone foundations, we see a ruined Roman fort in North Wales that the refugees specifically renamed Caer Gai, Kai's Fort, anchoring their northern legend to new, defensible soil. When the Britons lost their physical homeland, Kai lost his geographical anchor. The historical warlord was replaced by a floating legend, leaving him vulnerable to the cultural shifts of future generations. In the violent reality of the Old North, a hero needed a cold heart. Kai's brutal nature was revered as a survival mechanism by a society living under constant siege. Centuries later, those Brittonic tales crossed the English Channel and entered the aristocratic courts of France. This audience prioritized courtly love and refined manners. They had zero use for the grim, survival-focused ethics of a post-Roman border guard. Because the giant-slaying warlord did not fit into polite society, continental writers actively demoted him. They stripped away his military command and made him a bumbling steward, a convenient foil for civilized knights. Sir Kay's transformation into a punchline follows the same trajectory as the men of the North, a displaced people whose primary defender was culturally overwritten, leaving his true military legacy buried beneath romance and the standing stones of Edinburgh.